Snow fell in thick sheets over the colony outskirts on the frozen planet Kiros. 7. The dome cities were warm, their artificial suns blazing inside, shielding the human settlers from the unforgiving storms outside. But just beyond those shimmering barriers, in the slums that clung like frostbite to the dome walls, life was brutal, especially for the alien refugees no one wanted. Sergeant Dorian Hale trudged along the perimeter wall of the eastern sector, boots crunching over frost-encrusted metal and frozen garbage. His shift was almost over. He hated patrol duty, always the same miserable sights, worn-out shelters, shivering outcasts, and eyes too hollow for tears. Then he heard it, a weak voice, barely audible over the wind. "We just want a warm meal, please." He turned. A figure stood not 5 meters away, no coat, no shoes. A woman, slender, tall, with pale blue skin that now tinged purple from cold. Her arms wrapped tightly around a child, equally alien, equally frozen. The girl's feet were bare, red with frostbite, her tiny fingers clutching her mother's torn tunic. They weren't criminals, not vagrants. Just two people trying to survive. Dorian stepped closer. "Where's your shelter?" The woman's head tilted slightly. "We were turned out. No money. No permits." "Name?" "Sorry." He crouched down to the little girl. She had glowing white eyes, her breath shivering in the icy air. She couldn't have been older than 5. "What's her name?" "My daughter is Amara," Sorry said softly. "She hasn't eaten in 2 days." Dorian should have called it in. Protocol said undocumented refugees needed to be processed, held until verified. But he looked at the girl's swollen feet, her cracked lips, and at Sari, who looked like she hadn't slept in a week. Dorian removed his thermal jacket. "Come with me." He took them through the access tunnel, an old maintenance shaft he used when sneaking out cigarettes, and slipped them into the storage room beneath his apartment complex. Warm, dry, and quiet. He grabbed protein bars from his rations and warmed water on the heat coils. Amara inhaled the food like a starving animal, and Sari, despite her pride, followed suit after a few heartbeats. "You could have left us," she said. "Most would have." "I'm not most," Dorian replied. She gave him a slow, tired nod. "Why?" He didn't answer right away. "My wife and son were on Sarin 4 when it fell. I couldn't get to them in time. I watched the footage, people begging for help. Nobody came." "I'm sorry," Sari whispered. He looked away. "Me too." Over the next few days, Dorian kept them hidden. Amara recovered slowly, her skin regaining some of its natural shimmer. Sari remained quiet, always watchful, always ready to run. But she cleaned the space, mended his old clothes, even cooked when she found a portable heater in storage. "You could stay here," he said one night. "We don't belong," she replied. "We're not registered. If the patrol finds us, I'll protect you." She stared at him for a long time. "You don't even know who we are." "Then tell me." Sari hesitated. Then, quietly, she spoke. "We were scientists. Before the war. My husband, Amara's father, was taken when our city fell. I ran with her. We crossed 3 systems, bribed smugglers, begged humans for entry. Some helped, but most just saw our skin, our language, and turned away." Dorian sat down beside her. "Not all humans are like that. I know. You proved it. But the dome wasn't blind forever." One evening, while returning from patrol, Dorian saw a drone hovering outside his building. Patrols had been alerted to a possible non-human presence in the residential zone. Someone had tipped them off. He rushed inside. "We have to go," he told Sari. She didn't argue. She clutched Amara and followed him through the emergency maintenance hatch. Dorian led them deep beneath the city into the old mining tunnels, long-abandoned routes from the original terraforming phase. He knew them well. That was where he'd hid during the early riots years ago. For 2 days, they hid in the dark. Sari never complained. Amara sang softly in her alien tongue, and Dorian felt something bloom in his chest, a need to protect, deeper than duty. Then the pursuers came. Not city security. Not soldiers. Mercs, private bounty hunters hired by the Dome Council to clean up the refugee issue discreetly. Dorian heard their footfalls before he saw the flashlights. He turned to Sari.
Run.
I'll hold them. You'll die. Better me than both of you. She grabbed his arm. You saved us once. Don't die now. But it was too late. The mercs were close. Dorian raised his weapon and fired. The tunnel echoed with bursts of plasma. He dropped one, then another. But a third shot hit his side. He collapsed to one knee. Suddenly, a sharp burst of blue light filled the tunnel. Sari stood tall, one hand raised, eyes glowing. The air vibrated with energy. One of the mercs screamed as his rifle melted in his hands. Another was flung against the wall with bone-crushing force. Then silence. Dorian blinked. What was that? I told you, she said, breathing hard. We were scientists, and not everything about us is primitive. She helped him up. Let's go. Word spread fast after that. A wounded patrol officer smuggled out of the tunnels. A classified report detailing a psychic energy event. A human found protecting undocumented aliens. But something else happened too. The footage from the tunnel leaked. Someone, maybe a sympathetic tech, released it to the networks. Millions watched as a child sobbed in the dark, as a mother stood tall against armed killers, as a human bled trying to protect them. Public opinion shifted. When the council tried to issue warrants, protests erupted. Let them stay, signs read. No one freezes in our name. And in the middle of the storm stood one name, Sergeant Dorian Hale. 2 months later, Dorian stood on a stage beside Sari and Amara. The Dome Council had relented under pressure and passed a new bill, the Refugee Integration Act. It offered housing, food, and basic protections for alien refugees, provided they had a sponsor. I'll be her sponsor, Dorian had told the council, and Amara's. Today, he placed his hand on Sari's as she trembled before the crowd. You okay? He asked. She nodded. Just overwhelmed. We're not hiding anymore. He smiled. You never should have had to. The crowd erupted in cheers as Amara waved shyly, now wearing real boots and a little scarf Dorian had knitted himself. Later that evening, in the warmth of their new home, Sari sat beside Dorian. Snow still fell outside, but inside, the fire crackled. You saved us twice, she whispered. He shook his head.
No.
You saved me. I lost a family once. I thought I'd never feel whole again. She placed a hand on his chest. And now? He looked over at Amara, curled up on the couch, humming her alien lullaby. Now, he said softly, I have something to protect again.